All right, welcome everyone. We're starting a little bit early tonight since the wife and kid are out of the house. Hopefully, we can get the stream in before they come back. Um, First of all, I guess administratively, for those who don't know, the Warhammer 40K cards are all available now on MTGO. I think I announced that in my previous Monday stream, but in case I didn't. So you can purchase them for I think like $39.99. There was only one card of interest to me, and probably not the one most people would think. And that was the Canoptic Scarab Swarm, and that's because uh, I foresee it with a few important applications. First and foremost, I think it is a haymaker against Delver as like a fifth endurance to just lock out the game and just like, you know, undercosted lingering souls. You just put like 3 to 4 flyers and nuke their yard. I don't think they're beating that. Long story short, I played it last night and it overperformed against strangely enough the reanimator list, but which is a tempo list. It also, unlike endurance, is actually a card I want to see against control because like it makes their spot removal look pretty bad. Like now you can argue if they have spot removal they're gonna remove your artisan, but that's true. But it's just another card I can board in as another threat, which I've been lacking. I want another threat besides 4 artisan, 4 reclaimer. Because what these control players are doing is just let your dorks live, right? Which is very disrespectful, first of all, and I think wrong. But uh, to show that it's wrong, you have to be able to punish it. And I just want another threat, right? Like you just go nuke their yard. Their yard is probably irrelevant, like especially if they're playing St. Catherine, which I think is not very good against us. Quite frankly, I played against it twice last night, and I think a Terminus or a Earl would have been better. Granted, against us, obviously St. Catherine is very good against tempo lists, but I think the fact that it's just a batter skull against us is not really that good. But so I think I played against somebody who like got 3 of them in play against me, and I still won. Well, not 2 of them at the same time, and then the third one later on. But you just like kill one, tick up the other one, and then until you can kill the second, and then with a Gris obviously, and then it just doesn't really matter. Like in my opinion, it's kind of slow. You're tempo negative against us, which and we're our secondary plan is to beat down. Our primary plan is combo, so they are allowing us to fight on the combo axis. Hey Andrew, by the way. Yeah, I think I like this board as well, and I want to give credit where credit is due. Yeah, I've seen that. I think that only works against less experienced players. I think if you're patient and just don't spend your green suns just ramping, you can punish that because it's pretty much saying like, oh, natural order is going to resolve. Like I guess they're not afraid of natural order is my read on it, right? Like, and because we have enough ways to push that through a green. Yeah, I don't think that generally. I think that only works if the Cradle player is impatient and just like blows the green suns on mana when they don't need to. But yeah, I want to give credit where credit is due. Matt's Olay, AK, well, that's his username, but Matt's Ellington, I consulted with earlier today. I wanted another card for control, uh, and he kind of told me what I needed to hear, which is even though it's not exciting, I think Duress is nice as another discard spell. I think basically against control, you're a combo deck, right? Like they can play their beans and their mana card and their value cards. We just don't care. We want to kill them ASAP, and I didn't want to keep in like an Echoing Deeps or Bog, right? Like these cards that are meant for grinding. I don't want to play that kind of game against control. I want to be as linear as possible as a combo deck, and these control decks have problems against combo decks, so you want to play into that, right? I do, I do. I think it's better, but not. But oh, nice. I hope you have fun, Andrew. Family is obviously fun. Thank you for the subscription. Um, oh, speaking of which, that reminds me. Here are my socials. If you want to be generous like Andrew. Exactly. So if they're gonna try to fight you on the prevent you from attacking axis, then you want to be a combo deck even more than before. And I think it changes the matchup because I think it actually helps us because our primary plan is the combo. The beatdown plan is secondary, and now they're attacking more on the secondary plan, which I think I'm okay with. I think where most players struggle, I see, is like, oh, they feel this need to answer a Saint Catherine. No, you just ignore it. It's probably gonna not gonna matter for like 4 turns, like pretty much a blank for a while. Like until you're at 0, it doesn't really matter, right? And obviously it can pressure Gris, but Gris can obviously take down after a few turns too, after chump blocks. So I do think it makes you more of a combo deck, which I would rather be anyways. But the problem is, I think a lot of players, from what I've seen, have a hard time playing the deck like that, and I don't know how to fix that except for just you just have to practice, right? Like have the right mindset. I think trying to answer in quotations a Saint Catherine is the wrong way to approach the matchup. And I think you will lose if you do that. I think you have to ignore it. And I think a lot of players are conditioned to answer opposing threats because of their experiences against Delver and like these Stompy decks, which we're supposed to do. But again, our deck is not really this mid-range, like, answer their threats, play our own kind of deck. Our deck is a linear ramp deck that can pivot if needed, but really it's priority number one is ramp and kill them with a natural. It's closer to Amulite Titan than it is to Yawgmoth. I'll put it that way for Modern. Would you say? I guess. No, see that again. See, I think that plays into their hand. So you already have a grist to play around Containment Priest. You don't want to board in Snuff Outs that essentially plays into hand because it incentivizes a longer game where the beans can start to take over. You want to play a shorter game where the beans are essentially liability from their side, right? Like you want it to be a bad thing for them to tap out for beans. Like if they're tapping out for beans, you want to be able to kill them because they tapped out. And I think Snuff Out doesn't really help that game plan. Again, you boarding in the discard to act like that. The pick your poison is like good early to maybe hit a ley line binding or even just to like hit their draw engine. It is pretty bad late, and that's why I've gone down to 2, and that's the cut for the Scare Swarm. Yeah, exactly. Like Andrew said, if you want to take a turn off to play beans, just know that a natural order could be looming at any time. And while it's possible to lose with Atraxa, generally you should not be. It's like over 90%, in my opinion. If you don't misplay, you should not be losing with Atraxa. I realize like there are exceptions to the rule, and obviously misplays do happen, but you just have to cut down. I don't know how to say it more than that. Also, along those lines, if you're somebody who has trouble winning post Fiend Artisan untapping, 2 things could be happening. One, you probably need to cut down your misplays. And 2, if you can only do that to a certain extent, I would suggest playing something that wins the game instead of you having to, go through the motion, so to speak, right? And what I mean by that is like a card like a Magus of the Moon could help you if you are somebody who struggles to win these more complex board states, right? Like you just want to end the game on the spot. You want to make it so untapping with Artisan is game over. Like, and if it's not, then you have to cut down the mistakes and you have to play these bullets that make it game over. Yes. So I'm not saying you in particular, Oloro. I'm just saying in general, if you're somebody who has trouble winning the game with an untapped Artisan, like I said, one of 2 things can happen. You're either gotta cut down the mistakes, or you gotta play the silver bullet that will make it easy for you to win. And a lot of times that's like either Magus of the Moon or something like a opposition agent per se. I don't love it, but I'll keep. Our opponent's notably 0-2. That is like bad for us, I think. Usually we don't want to be in the 0-2 background. You played against the Scavenator deck. I have. I think it is slightly favorable. Obviously they can nut draw you, but I think you have all the tools to compete against them. And we're playing against some weird, like, maybe Rug Lands variant. I think here we're gonna take the Hierarch. There's an argument to be made. Maybe we're supposed to hit the exploration. Might be a loam here. Interesting. Okay. Now I really regret not hitting the exploration earlier, but c'est la vie, right? What are we gonna do here? I think we might as well do it. Like, they're probably gonna sack the exploration now. But we'll see. Or maybe they sack the beanstalk. I don't know. Hard to say. We got a ramp out of it for what it's worth, so it's kind of even. I mean, they are 0-2 for what it's worth, Andrew. So maybe this is why. Unfortunately, we tend to do poorly against these kind of decks, or it's not like relevant practice. I think that's almost worse, right? Like, I'd rather lose and get relevant practice than win and not learn anything. It's for a league setting, at least. There's an argument to be made. We're supposed to, in case they have any artifacts that hold the pick your poison. I don't know what the heck is going on. It's a lot of dirt, although. Probably a source of plowshares right now. Okay, there's a prismatic ending. So the question here is, what do we do? Yeah, endurance seems good. I like get the feeling we might see some kind of weird I don't know, like a random Murktide or something coming down. It's like really straight. I don't know what the heck's going on. 2, 3, 4 mana. I think we can like play this tapped as a fetch land. Maybe I don't want to do that though. Feels like Reclaimer is like probably pretty good too here. Casey like no. I'm playing this untapped here. So actually a Gris is pretty decent because there's a good chance they have a Leyline Binding with this kind of like crazy mana. Well, actually they don't have red yet or black, so probably not actually. Take that back. We just want to grind here. Okay, so am I playing around Murktide here with an exploration deck, or am I playing around something else? The Prismatic Ending, that actually tells me there's no Leyline Binding. Um, Grist seems safe here, actually. But I'm gonna feel silly if they Murktide me. The question is, like, would they play Murktide in this kind of deck? Maybe. Uh, let's play it safe. The good thing is we can just pitch the Endurance next turn if need be. Um, yeah, I mean they gotta be playing Beanstalk for some reason, right? And we haven't seen anything yet. Hey, Jared, how's it going? Maybe the Saint Catherine. All right. So that's the other problem with these kind of decks. Like they could literally, because they're in the O2, right? They could literally be playing anything. Yeah. So I mean, we would have potentially had a Grist, but I mean, how are we gonna know that, right? There's no reason to get the. Well, I guess we take the Artisan. Well, actually, we can't even cast it. So I think we take the fetch here. I really don't want to be in the O2 bracket because for the reasons I stated, right? Like you probably are not getting good practice, win or lose. Oh my god. I think this is the Brian Koval. I think he played something along these lines. Sure. Yeah, it's again, it's gonna get us because we're our deck is like we don't know what they're doing, right? It's like a weird control deck almost, like ramp control deck. The good thing is, I think we will pick them apart post board. Now that we know what we're playing against. We're gonna lose this game one, but I think we'll. I think now that we've seen what their deck is doing, we can pick them apart next game. But yeah, I just wish for once we can like play against meta decks. Probably a force here. It's gotta be right. Nope. Maybe the blue count is too low. I'm actually the opposite. I think of most players. I've seen people. Yeah, Matt, that's what I figured. When I saw some video, I mean some tweet about like plow under, and I didn't realize that's what they were playing until we got plowed under. Granted, we were probably already dead with a supreme verdict, but now that we know we're on, I think game 2 and 3 we can adjust. Part of me is ready to call it in, but we'll see. Like, I don't think we're coming back from this, but they don't appear to have force. So technically speaking, an Atraxa can just get us back in the game. What threw me really off was the exploration, though, which excuse me, that was my dog. What threw me off is I don't think exploration really belongs in this deck. Okay, we're not winning. I'm gonna concede to save everybody's time. All right. This is like a grindy matchup. Like they're like a pseudo control deck, pseudo ramp. I'm not gonna respect Merit Lage. I don't think they have it. I think we're gonna see the swarm in action. I'm gonna board as if they're. All right, later on, Andrew. Thanks for hanging out. I'm not gonna respect their graveyard shenanigans. I think either way, I'm not gonna be like too concerned win or lose. Ideally, you'd like to win, but like, again, you're not gonna face this like maybe ever again. Also, they do have swords. Interesting. Would have wished to draw that earlier, or the turn before. So I think an ideal draw here is probably like an artisan or a black source is like reasonable. Reclaimer is reasonable. There's a bunch of decent draws here. Presumably, oh wow, they are playing Wasteland. I was gonna say presumably. Uh, I thought they were gonna attack the Arbor or the Shepherd and cut me off mana. I think here we just make sure we hit our land drops. It's not bad. I think the only change I will make now is given that we. Hey, Renatus Vampiris. I'm playing one Canoptic Scarab Swarm in the sideboard. Um, I'm sure somebody will ask again, like, what about Moloch? I don't think we care about that card. I'd rather not ruin my mana base. I'm gonna draw it and want to pull out my hair because it's red, right? I think they're tapped out, so let's get this online. Also, the thing about Moloch is, at the end of the day, if you're just gonna tutor for it, it's a 3 mana removal spell. Like, I don't think that's what our deck really wants. Like, an inefficient card. Does it have use cases? Sure. Like, if there's a lot of Blood Moon, or sorry, Magus of the Moon in your metagame, I think it's like reasonable in the sideboard. But that and maybe like Davi Voidwalker is another reason to maybe play it. This is what I mean. Euro is way scarier than like a Saint Catherine. Saint Catherine, I just like tick down right here and just like don't even care. Ugh, did not want to mill that. So they're probably gonna tap out for an Euro. Like, do we really care? The good thing is they can't Euro and pending on the same turn, so we're gonna kill that. Unfortunately, we don't have the bog because I boarded it out. Um, my logic is if we need to, we just kill the Euro like with a Gris, which is what's gonna happen, right? If they want to pay 7 mana to draw 2 cards, I think we're okay with that too. Our hand is already sort of all in. I don't think we're recovering from a Supreme Verdict here. So they may or may not try to go for Earl again, but we'll see. Uh-oh. Oh my god. Why are we playing against this deck? Unfortunately, we can't even deal with the Earl too because we didn't draw our discard spell, but you know, that's sometimes that happens. This is always my worst fear, right? Like pairing into something like this that our deck is not prepared for. Excuse me. This is what I mean too, right? Our pick our points is kind of bad right now. Don't really want to draw this card late. Have this card late. It's just a liability that we live with our deck building right now to maximize space. We can obviously play dedicated anti-control cards, but I do want to be combo. There's an argument to be made. We just don't even keep this in. We just keep down the bog. If it gets to a game 3, we keep the bog in the Echoing Deeps. So in case we ever play into this again in the future, something to keep in mind. Because that way we deal with the Earl. They still don't have pressure. Yeah, I'd rather see a Kathy than a Earl personally. Yeah, I think hindsight's always 2020. I think if I were to do it again, now that we've seen what we're kind of playing against, I if it goes to a game 3, which I don't think we're gonna get to a game 3, I think we're probably dead. But if it does go to a game 3, I think we will keep them out, keep the bog, and keep the Echoing Deeps in. it didn't seem like their deck relied on the graveyard much in game one, but sure. Now we're just drawing dead too for a couple turns. Well, sort of, because I think we know what's on top. It's a land. Question, yeah, we're gonna mill the land here. And then we're gonna get the reclaimer. Problem is they're gonna have another Uro and sure. That's almost good for us, I think, actually. Well, actually, no, that's not true. Yeah, I think this game is different if I board it correctly, because we would have had Echoing Deeps and the Bog, right? And the Bog shutting out the Uro would have saved this game, I think. I think we probably would have eked it out. So we lose the Reclaimer there. They're playing this, yeah. Now it's probably pretty grim for us with the Uros coming, looming too. I think our only hope is the Hail Mary now, Atraxa. Yeah. Uro is definitely a problem if uncontested, and we didn't have reason to. Hey Casey, how's it going? Have reason to respect the game one because we didn't really see much graveyard stuff, and I figured we saw the enchantments, so that's why I kept the PYPs in. But like I said, hindsight's 2020. It's probably already over. I think we have to hit runner here, and the runner being land into a natural order. Actually, that was a mistake. I think what I should have done was just ramp. So natural order is a turn earlier. Oh my god. Not okay. It didn't matter, I guess. I think we're just dead here, right? Like, we can't afford to not block. Yeah, I'm just concede. All right. Hopefully no more of this like shenanigans. To be fair, like, I think if I knew what I was playing against, or if I'd seen it before, I think we probably win that game too. I don't think we game one because again, that's the benefit of having a new list. Uh, but you know, it is what it is. I don't put much weight into that anyways, so that's okay. Doomsday matchup against Ethan here. I think we want endurance. This hand is kind of slow. It can have a fast. I think we're just. I don't think we're on multi endurance, so I'll keep. The ones can hit it too. We do have a turn to collective for whatever that's worth. And the ones we're just gonna assume we're gonna hit endurance, right? Speaking like a pro, right? Here's the endurance. Okay. What do we do now? We can hold up endurance, and then, or we can get the. We can't play the Uvia, so yeah, just get the endurance. Uh, Play the Hierarch and pass. They want to daze that they can. I have a lot of respect for Ethan for what it's worth too. He usually has really cool ideas, given his bandwidth or like his breadth of knowledge regarding magic cards. He knows a lot of cards I am not very familiar with, and I think that's pretty cool. For if you're somebody who likes like EDH type cards, he's probably the person to ask. Also, Current, I hope you're playing. Are you playing tomorrow's event? I'm not, but like part of the reason why I'm testing tonight too is to help everyone. If we need to make changes to this list, then so be it. But I do think you know if we can dodge. Well, one, I gotta play better, right? I made that mistake game two and granted, it's easy to say with hindsight's 2020 as well. But oh, did it? I didn't realize that. Maybe it did. I didn't check. I thought it was tomorrow, but again, I did not check since I wasn't playing regardless. All right. One thing I like to do here is like check how many Force of Wills they have. Looks like one, two, three of them. So here, it's the question of what do we want here? Is there any LEDs here in their CR? It doesn't look like it. There are two rings. That's good to know. If I really care, I'm gonna like check all their cantrips too. Looks like their free cyclers are still in their deck. So between there's looks like there's a what's it called a second street route that's still in their deck and probably an Edge of Autumn. I think here the line is probably the artisan is dead for what it's worth. I think for those of you who are not sure, it's just whether I want to do something else here. I think bashing is probably relevant. As crazy as that sounds. So get the 2 damage in. We're leaving Artisan as pitch. I see a lot of Cradle players in this matchup leave Artisan in, and it like perplexes me. Like, why would you keep a 2-mana do nothing in this matchup in? I think here we do this now. Oh wow, okay, they're making the reanimate pile. Yep, you got me. All right, we have a lot of cards to bring in. A lot of do nothing cards. All right. It's like let me check my. Actually, my sideboard plan is probably not even like ready. A question, a question I get asked a lot is why not hoof? Is because attracts is a win against them. You draw into their snuff outs and your endurances, and they're not gonna beat that because it's gonna buy you one turn and attracts attacks for the win. That's the idea behind it. So you just go low to the ground. Like I board out all of my artisans. It's like why do you want a 2 mana do nothing? Agreed. Kern. Close. Um, it has a turn 2 collector oof and snuff out backup. I don't think we can just mull into Oblivion against a Force of Will and discard deck. I think we'll just try it. Also, they tend to have Leyline of Sanctity too, so you're playing around that. Like that's another reason why you can't just like mull the Seas or Endurance. They tend to be a Leyline of Sanctity deck, which is if you want to beat us out of Doomsday and Oops off spells, that is the card to do so. We're gonna run into days here. I don't think we have a choice really. Also, since Evan Lewis Akaleth is in chat here, he must be excited for the. I saw he got he copped the copy of the Scarab Swarm, so that's pretty neat to see. Might be a discard spell here, or Cabal. Okay, there you go. I just spoke into existence, right? That's fun. Yeah, I didn't think so either personally. Like I wasn't holding my breath, but I was in a different boat too because I hadn't tested any of the cards just because none of the cards. Well, one, I haven't played Paper in forever, and two, none of the cards look particularly interesting to me. The one card that I also thought was like decent, maybe as a one of, and it's proven the case at least day one of testing is the Scarab Swarm. I'm not a fan of the Moloch. I don't think it really is needed, if that makes sense. I don't want to play a third color. And you already have removal and grist. Granted, more conditional, but still. All right. Let's see. No LED pile. Also, no Leyline of Sanctity. So that's good for us if it gets to a game 3. No cyclers. I think they made a slower pile, but I guess we'll see. Looks like forces are still in. I see 2 of them. Damage is the thing that matters here, so we're gonna play around days with the hierarchs. We're gonna run the reclaimer into days. They want to force that. That's kind of funny. There's an argument to be made to not actually, do they have days? One. I guess the first thing we'll do is bash and see what happens. Actually, poor sequencing here. If I'm gonna do that, I might as well like. Okay, so uh, that's pretty funny. Okay, so they conceded because this is why you don't play Birds of Paradise, by the way. Like the hierarchs really matter in these like really close cases. Also, it's a way for you to beat opposition agent. Yeah, so I talked about that a little bit earlier, Evan. I think 3 mana for removal spell is pretty inefficient, even if you get the creature. And our deck is really a tempo deck in disguise. Like everything's just efficiency and how to do it, and I don't think that's like the most efficient play. If that makes sense. All right, we'll go to game three. Like these hierarchs were MVPs here, right? Like seemed like his line was dependent on getting a second turn. Do we change anything? The fact that they don't have Leyline of Sanctity? Probably not. It just means that maybe we can be a little bit more aggressive with our mulligans now. And this is quite the hand. This hand is like pretty stacked, admittedly. For those who are curious, one of the metrics I use to judge how good our deck is, obviously the number one is like how is our Delver matchup, and I think right now it's probably the best it's ever been. Like, and I don't think I'm understating that. Yeah, I'm not really concerned about the end game though. I think our deck can grind out most decks outside of maybe, well, for sure we don't want to. Outside of maybe D&T with Urian. That's probably the one deck I don't want to get into like this grinding matchup. All right. Actually, let's play the land first, in case they want to. They care about this. Yeah, I mean, I think it's a playable card. I just don't think it's needed in our deck. Is all I'm saying. Sure. I think what it would be a good draw here. An endurance, maybe a land if they have days. Actually, they don't have any cards in hand. Interesting. Do they keep days against us? Doesn't look like it. They have one, two. Um, what are we looking for here? Reclaimer or the funny thing is we can actually maybe lethal them with Reclaimer if we snuff out our own Dryad Arbor. Uh, we don't have natural order in hand, and we'd be missing a land drop anyways to get there. So I actually think that's the line, and we could potentially lethal our opponent. by snuffing out our own Dryad Arbor. There is a chance that it's hard to say if they're gonna play into snuff out too. Ideally, here we just draw a fetch land and make it trivial, right? It could be a pack. I don't know if they have pack negation or something. They have one card in hand. Actually, that's the first time I ever got to do that. Always home, and I think it might be relevant here. The two cards in hand. Cards in hand, 0. Okay. Whew, all right, there you go. We snuffed out our own Arbor for 2 extra damage, and that was the difference in the game here. I think we probably got him regardless because the snuff out's relevant here. We just snuff out their Arbor, go and put it back. But it's kind of cool to be able to do that line. It's never come up before. This is the first time. All right, I'm gonna take a quick restroom break, but that was a great game. Hey Job, how's it going? Let me get water. The idea was to shut off Street Reef. That's correct, and just reduce the clock by a turn. If I'm being honest, I think the correct play might have been just to hold the snuff out, but it's definitely the more fun play to make. So I just wanted to see how that played out. One of the issues with also giving my opponent another draw step was I think they have I don't I don't remember if they have Force of Will or not in their deck, but the point is if they did, they can actually take multiple turns and just draw into Force. And they do that, all they need to do is just force the endurance, and then we lose, right? Then the snuff out's just dead. So that's the other thing, right? Yeah, I don't know. There there is a non-zero chance it's correct, but and only because I didn't check their pile closely enough. But if their three card hand becomes Force, Blue Pitch, and an Oracle, then you lose, right? Then the snuff out doesn't do anything because they just need to force the endurance, and that's it. Snuff out is only good in the matchup if endurance resolves. If it doesn't resolve, then it's a lot less good. Well, let me take that back. It's good if they don't empty their pile, but if they have more than one turn to do so, then they can be patient, right? I mean, obviously we're streaming right now. I don't want to take time to just like deduce their entire pile, but I would recommend you be able to do so in a a setting that you care about. The main cards to look for are like LED pedals, the free cyclers. We didn't care there because yeah, the free cyclers. If you have a Boseiju or Assassin's Trophy, the basic, those are like their cantrips. Like usually you can figure out their exact pile. Here this is almost like a mode of five, right? I think I'm more. We want the attracts in the deck. I wish there was a green brainstorm. So I can just, or not even brainstorm, just some way to put Atraxa back into my deck. Uh-oh. It's probably goblins. Right, and not one that sucks too. That's the like there's cards that do it, but they're just so bad. All right. What are we doing here? I think we want to guarantee. I think we want to guarantee that we have natural order next turn. And in case they do are on Moon Stompy, I don't think we run anything else out. Hey Kevin, how's it going? Great question. Obviously, there's always time to reevaluate what's the best splash color. Um, my personal opinion is I'm not sure in the context of our deck, Plow is even better than the Snuff Out. I think if it is better, it's not by much Where you help we get where you benefit the most is against Merit Lage decks, which admittedly is a little bit of a problem for us. Green white depths can be a little bit hard depending on what they have, but the bigger issue that I see is the white options for combo hate is a lot worse. It is my bigger problem. Like, I think Seize is too good not to play. I think we fetch here. The game might be over. Also, for those who don't know, Kevin is killing it right now. He's the trophy leader at the moment. So, really happy to see that. Oh, didn't hit a Cradle. That is unfortunate. I think we get a natural order once, Forest, and ramp again. We have lethal next turn, I believe, though. I have to check. If nothing else, it's a lot of damage. No, Kevin actually played really well against me yesterday. I haven't lost against Delver in a long time. And yesterday was the first time I lost to Delver to Kevin. And this was before I added Canoptic Scarab Swarm. So I was like, well, I don't want to lose the Delver matchup. And I just lost to a fantastic player, but it means that the matchup is losable. So I had to address it in my eyes. So kudos to Kevin there. Ugh. That postulate mods is very annoying. He might be dead here, depending what they have. I think Skirk is a disaster. They have it here. That is not great for us. Okay. And the reason why it's not great is because we can't block now. Okay, that they messed up. They allowed us to block. So going back to Kevin's the point of discussion, right? I don't believe the white hate bearers are fast enough, and not to mention they attack on the same axis as our current suite. Granted, much more narrow, right? With collective oof. I think we want discard for turn one interaction. You would still probably play one what is it called? One Bayou for what it's worth. I think Gris is a must, quite frankly. All right. The greedy play here is to once, and then we miss is a disaster. We attack here. So what do we actually care about here? The Muxus probably. Maybe the Rabble Master. So we attack with 12. They both get +4. That's not even lethal. Actually, what, 12 +4, 16. Yeah, that's not even lethal. We could Gris. The problem with, well, what are we killing though if we Gris? Let's once first and see what we draw. We still did not hit a land. Oh my god, that's a disaster. We could Collector Oof, I guess. And shut off their mana so that they can't Passionate Mons and stop the sack. That's reasonable, I guess. It's better than nothing. Okay, they can still do it, I guess. It's a lot of damage. That is a lot of damage. So what I'm scared of, I think, is like if I block with a oof, that might just unlock their. It's a lot. Okay. Let's see how much is that. I think this is the card I care about. And they do it, they have to do it now and then tap out. 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Do I care? For 18, 20, 22, 23, 24. Don't think we actually care. Hopefully I'm not screwing up here. How? No, they have to. What are they stacking? So the good thing is we made them waste their mana, which is what we really wanted. Two mana left. What are they playing? Alright, now we have lethal. This is not the matchup I want to see game one, too, for what it's worth. Sorry, we're not favored game one because we have so many dead cards. And if we stole game one, it's boding pretty well for us. Like, we have all our endurances that are dead. Our shepherd is dead. The bogs are dead. Like, we have a ton of dead cards. They probably should have done that. Yeah, I think that would have been correct because they cannot allow me to untap with the Atraxa there. So they must have just missed it. Alright, we have like a million cards to bring in now. So the question is like, do we think they can beat an Atraxa? The answer is no. We have one more card we can keep in, and The card that I think matters the most here is, or the highest upside, if we're gonna keep such a card. Actually, we're at 60. Never mind. I thought about that, but like, I I'm just not sure they can be an Atraxa. Is the only thing. Obviously, if I had the next card that's coming in would be Hoof, but what am I cutting here? Right? There's nothing I really want to cut. Maybe a Reclaimer. It's a little slow in this matchup. Or if we call their bluff that they're gonna not bring in Chalice against us. No, some people they've been keeping in Chalice for some reason against me, and maybe because they know I'm on Seas. That's the only explanation. I'm gonna try this way and take my chances. Essentially, I'm daring them to beat an Atraxa. This is like pretty good. It beats a Magus too. It doesn't beat Blood Moon, but it beats a Magus. Sure. Wait, what do we care about here? Probably the Reclaimer. I don't think they are I mean, we get Chalice, we get Chalice. I'm not gonna play around that. The way I see this game going is it's gonna be kind of grindy, and I don't want to have a Shepherd do nothing potentially if it gets into a grindy matchup. All right, we're no blocks. There's a possibility I'm supposed to take the Chalice there, but I mean the Shepherd there, but so here's an interesting part. We could if we had the natural order in hand, we just don't even play anything. But we're missing a land drop anyways. I think we do enough to bait out Pyrokinesis here. There's no reason to commit more. Like if they have it, they're gonna spend it here. What this does is, if they have it, they will spend it. If they don't have it, we punish them with a Reclaimer untap. Might be a Sticker Goblin here. Sure. I think here we gotta, yeah, now we're gonna snuff this out. They don't do it here, they don't have it. lock their mana. I'm holding this for black pitch, right? All right. I just know, well, it's weird. I feel like I have to hold the Fiend Artisan for the Contagion pitch. Also, if they top deck a sweeper, I just get blown out if I play the Artisan. Probably still bash and see what they do. Okay. Interesting. So I don't get blown out here. I'm gonna play it safe and just pitch the Arbor. And then I'm gonna get a fetch. We can actually hardcast Contagion now, which is like really funny. All right, I think the game is probably locked. Our opponent like is soft locked, and they're on a 1 turn clock. And we have two pieces of protection up. This hard cast Contagion is kind of funny. What the hell is going on? Oh. Yeah. I did not think I would be hard casting this in my first, game with it, but sometimes that's just how it works, right? That was went better than I thought, but asterisk on the first game. We gotta call it how it is, right? As Chat astutely pointed out, Chat is never wrong. Our opponent should have sacrifice their Muxus to hit our Atraxa, which validates or confirms that the game ones against that deck, particularly if they're on the play, is very tough. I think we're probably a slight favorite post board games, but then not by much. Obviously, you have to draw a Snuff Out or Seize. Seize obviously a lot worse than Snuff Out in this matchup. The card that is actually good if you want to hose our deck from their side is actually Blood Moon, because we don't play Force of Vigor anymore. But I don't know how much you want to dilute their own strategy, right? Yes. Alright, I'm gonna fetch first before once. They're thin. Is a general rule of thumb, I like to go too low to the ground. I just assume my opponent's going to interact with me. No, I cut the snow covered. I figured it's probably easier for my opponent to tell, that's my list if it's snow covered, for instance. Yeah, see, I just assume the first thing is going to die, which I think is correct for what it's worth. I think, as a general rule of thumb, I think it's correct to bolt the bird. Here, we're going to do this first and see what happens. Okay, interesting. Nice. Do we have an Atraxa coming up? Nice. The Cradle. Unfortunately, it's only 2. Get the Artisan, and that's it, I guess. Not a great hit, but gotta live with it. Sure. They have Bowmaster, they would have Bowmastered it already. We lost on 1 point of damage by not attacking before, but I wanted to see how they responded to the natural order. It's probably correct to attack first there because we had no way of generating enough value for a second natural order. So I think if I thought a little bit more there, I would have just attacked. The only problem is you run the risk of you run into this dinosaur that's playing a Snapcaster Mage, right? That would be the, or some random thing like I've seen the craziest things. The new thrall, right? The door keeper, whatever it's called. Like I don't want a random flash creature to just get us. They are shuffling. That is a good sign. It tells me they have not found two outs yet. Cradle? That's not bad. Um, Actually, I should have done that after. Actually, that's fine. I don't think it's a big deal. I did it now. There's no dress down up. Yeah. That was easy peasy. Yeah, this is like the random mistakes. I like the 1 point of damage, just like in case your opponent is just off the rails and playing something that is non-meta, you don't want to just lose because of 1 point of damage. There are beans deck. What did we see there? We only saw Bant colors for what's worth. Uh, Definitely bring in all the discard. So I don't want to run too much discard because of like Leyline of Sanctity, but I think the fifth one helps with our mapping. Uh, my stance on Veil Summer is if they veil me, they veil me. Like it's just not a card I'm willing to play around. We did see Earls. Granted, they weren't in position to cast Earls. It would have been bad. Um, we board out the Endurances, board out the Collector Oof, and I just like go lean to the ground like a combo deck. I'm assuming they're on like what's it, the normal like control-ish deck. We can deviate from this if we see like Earls that we did like the first round, but I think I like this in the vacuum. Sure. Here are my socials again for those who are curious. Also, I recently created a link tree, so there is that. If that's easier for you, my link tree is on my Twitter. I should probably update this bot to just put the link tree. Probably easier that way. Let me find it real quick. My wife knew what a link tree was. I was like, how did you know? And she's like, oh, a lot of influencers have it, so she knows from that. Not really what I want at the moment. I'd rather just have a land. There's an argument to be made to go Hierarch first, because we're expecting our first thing to die. Sure. We really got to hit a land drop here, though. Man, we did not. I think we do this first. And see how they respond. Okay, I think that's fine with us. I'm gonna save the Thoughtseize for later. We're not in position really to do anything with that yet. What do they pitch? That's relevant, sure. It's not the end of the world. I think we try to hit our land drop. What do we... So if they supreme here, it's kind of bad. I feel like we have to protect ourselves here and not like get supremed or whatever else nonsense. Sure, I don't think I actually would care about that. You kidding me? 2 Murktide regions? Okay, I guess that's fine. So they got a Murktide region. They draw a card. I'm not even sure we... So, oh, they're not doing that. I think we have to nuke their yard while we can. Oh, this ETB doesn't work. Ugh, that's annoying because of this thing. We can't even do that. Yeah. I just saw it right now. That's actually really annoying. Good thing we're only playing with 1 of, right? Actually, let's just bash first and see what happens. My guess is they probably drew pit force because why else would they not have cast Murktide there? I think they just didn't want to die, which is, you know, respect. It's probably a force. Never mind. Uh-oh. If they drew a sweeper, that's really bad too. But I don't... Okay, guess that's maybe a thing. They don't have a Murktide here, but... And they have the Thrall. I don't think we actually care about that card, but like it's kind of annoying. It shuts off our strongest card in this matchup. It hasn't. Well, I guess it kind of matters because we weren't able to do this because of the Thrall. I think maybe they just wanted to like grow Murktide. It wasn't that big. I don't know. No, you're fine. I mean, as long as everybody's respectful, that's all that matters, I think. It's too small, unfortunately. We could have bluff attack just to see how they respond, but that's probably loose. Make them think we like kept it invigorated or something. This is like so annoying. Wait, how did they? Wait. How did they get? See, I thought it was an ETB, but interesting. It's a very, very odd interaction. I guess they both happen, right? Like, I don't know. It's very strange to me. I feel like this should not have gone to counters. Okay. Are they gonna let it through? That is the question. That doesn't change my line. If I kill that, chump block. Just play as a chump blocker, more or less. Actually, that doesn't work because of the containment freeze. What am I doing? So that was a mistake on my behalf. Except they just... Wait, what? Did I just click through that? What the heck just happened? How come I couldn't declare blocks? Why could I have not declared blocks there? Oh yeah, that's a good point. That's reasonable. I need to remember to do that. Well, it didn't matter. They had Supreme anyways. It did not matter. They had Supreme anyways. Although I would have been left with a Gris for what it's worth. This thing is so awful sometimes when I draw top deck it. Yeah, yeah, that's what I mean. Interesting. They chose to give me the artisan back? That does not feel like it's right, but I guess maybe because they had the removal already. Okay, we would have lost anyways. Yeah, we're just dead, I guess. Because they would have attacked both, kill our Gris, and now what? Now we're dead, right? This wasn't gonna work out for us. They're playing. They are sure playing a lot of creatures, uh, but I still think it's wrong to bring in Snuff out. Well, they have like four. Maybe it's better than the pick your poison for what it's worth. I can see that. Duress. I think maybe this is the call. Uh, well, actually, that's not true. The pick your poison answers everything but it answers the Thrall and the Murktide region. It doesn't answer the Containment Priest, but we have the Gris. So actually, I still like this. This is still less narrow. I mean, I think this is better. Because I feel like it's more flexible, right? Like, it can hit the beans early. This is like playable, but man, we have to go turn one Cradle. Otherwise, we can lose the game on the spot if they swords. Is that worth the risk? I guess. I really don't want to mull. It's playable, I guess. I guess, right? We're gonna go turn to Arbor Ramp, and then we catch up that way. I don't want to just like turn one lose the game, if that makes sense. If they have a sword, we lose the game on the spot. I just, it's not worth the risk. They're gonna beans probably. Are you gonna tap out for beans? Like, we have 2, 3, 4 mana. Yeah, we can grist if they beans. Come on, please beans, so we can tap out and just vomit our hand. Feels like Containment Priest, but we can play around that. Casual turn 3 Atraxa. despite no turn one play. Let's just do it now. In case they have like binding or something. I don't see why our opponent took so long. I mean, it seems like a no-brainer, right? Like, if you have containment, you leave it up. That should have been a snap decision from our opponent. I don't know why they even debated whether to leave it up or not. Like, we lost our Cradle, but I think the upside of the getting the Atraxa was worth it there. Sure. Hmm. I'm gonna do it this way so I can deck thin. Also, uh-oh, that's not good. I can potentially, well, actually, I can't even play around Murktide. I boarded out the bogs. I'm pretty sure I boarded out the bogs. I don't think I should be bogging it for what it's worth either. It's just I don't think that like is congruent with our game plan. All right, we're gonna grow our yard essentially. Are you gonna stifle that? What's going on? How all in are we at the moment? I think pretty much so. So the funny thing is they brainstormed and then they played their. Yeah, I mean, like something feels off. Like they brainstormed and then didn't bin their card. So something feels off. I'll bash this way. Agreed, Lawrence. So, yeah, something definitely feels off here. Terminus, maybe. What is going on? Unless they screwed up, like they brainstormed and didn't bin the card. Like that doesn't make any sense. Uh, I thought about it, but like in case they somehow answer the grist too, right? But maybe that's just playing too too conservatively. You might be right, Lawrence. That you bash with both. I wanted the option to get a basic in case like this happens, right? Um. So there's the Supreme that we anticipated. But I think Lawrence is probably right because we just tick up and then you're right. Grist lets you rebuild. I think we just allow this to happen, right? We missed out on 2 points of damage, so that's a fair point. But yeah, it was somewhat telegraphed. I was like, something feels off, and we were right. Sure. Murktide, maybe? It's a lot of hate that they're packing. Sure. Pass the turn, please. So I can slam my artisan. Question is, do we attack here? They could have a containment freeze. I'm not even sure it's worth it. Probably not. They shuffle. That's a good sign. Sure. They keep leaving 2 mana up. It like feels like priest to me, but I could be wrong. They have no lands in the graveyard. That is like insane to me. I guess I can nuke my own and create a big board that way. 3, 4. Actually, let's do it this way. Yeah, yeah. I'm trying to figure out what the hell it could be. Maybe I'll kill the beanstalk first and see how they respond. Yeah, it makes sense, I guess. What don't we want to see? Probably the noble. I thought I had one more mana than I did there, but it didn't matter. I ticked up, and then I killed the beans. Um, was gonna get a redundant artisan, but they responded with this. That's fine. If they attack, we're gonna double block. Like if they want to spend a removal spell, sure, that's fine. We denied a draw, but I'm not sure that's what we want in this matchup. How many, man? How many priests are they running? Like, it's a lot of hate. I'm not sure there was anything we really could have done. Like, we needed to bait out the containment priest, and then yeah, kind of feel like we should have won this game. Like, I cannot believe that they had all of that hate. Like, right? Like, I actually don't care about the St. Catharines personally. It's just that it's hard to fight through two containment priests, but maybe that means I'm supposed to keep in snuff out. Like if I think if I know their sideboard plan is just like a bunch of creatures, then I think the what I would change is instead of keeping in the pick your poison, I'm gonna keep in the snuff out. I just didn't anticipate they're gonna have that much like hate bears, I guess, right? But maybe that's the new stock. Yeah, but to be fair, also like one of them was the thrall, so I figured the pick your poison can answer that. Oops, I didn't block. I mean, we're not winning anyways, but that's neither here nor there. All right. I mean, the Catharines, I don't think we cared. Like to like, quite frankly. I mean, for what it's worth, Lawrence, we did consider it. I'm not sure if you caught that part. Like, I thought about switching the two snuff outs to game three, and then I just figured, well, we saw one priest and one thrall. Like, how many more could they possibly have? The one card it doesn't hit was the one card it didn't hit was the priest, but that was like a one up. The thrall we hit, so I felt like the thing was like decent maybe, but uh, I think going forward now that maybe that's an adjustment that I need to make, right? I think I need the snap call there was maybe change to the two snuff outs that converts on the containment freeze, and I think we win that game, to be honest. Like we snuff out their priest, we canoptic ourselves, put like 6 or so flyers into play, and then natural order wins the game. So I think that was just misboarding there, right? Like if we replace the one of the pick your poison with a snuff out, we convert there instead of hitting the beans. They can ley line kill our thing, that whatever. I think that's the lesson learned, right? We keep the snuff out and kill the thing. Uh, Target our yard with the insect. Put 6/6 into play and then lethal them through force next turn because we have 2, right? So I mean, I said it earlier, and then as the kids like to say, right, we stand on business. So I'd rather lose and learn something than win and not gain anything, right? All right, one more. I'll keep drawing this. I really wish we could put this back somehow. Yeah, I would agree with that, Lawrence. And I think like it's probably on the onus is on us to adjust with the snuff out. We didn't make that adjustment, but I think had we done it, it would have played out okay. We're gonna mull this hand. This is a lot better. Actually, what am I keeping here? Probably that. Actually, let's put that back. I think the list felt fine. Our first loss was to some rogue deck, so that was. I don't think I care too much about that. We did lose to control back control right now, but I also misplayed, so take that for what it's worth. Or misboard is probably the better phrasing. I think they're on the mono black deck, but I could be wrong. Um, we saw a decent amount of hate bearers game 2, and I didn't adjust by boarding in the 2 snuff outs over the pick your poison game 3. I'm not sure we even. Ugh. The good thing is that they bowmasters here. We get value out of the natural order, right? And they would probably be very tempted to bowmasters if they had it in their hand. Ugh. That's a. Oh my god. I'm not gonna block. Well, actually, I should have attacked with the artisan. That was a mistake. We're getting tempoed out here, though. Might be a grief hardcast. All right, later on, Lawrence. Thanks for hanging out. Good insight as usual. I think our only line here is we have to draw a Cradle. Nope. Now we're dead. Yeah, I mean to be fair, like our we mulled a 6 and then we. Well, was it a 6 or 7? We had an awkward keep because we had to fetch Bayou too. Yeah, we mulled a 6, so that's part of it. I think we have to keep in what is it called? Natural order. How do I board against this? I forgot already. Looks like I bored out some number of endurance. The rest seems reasonable. Oops. I need to take this out. Ugh, too late. I'm gonna always forget that because it's in the corner. I'm not back with grief. Oops. Decided against it. Probably for the best, in case we draw C's. They probably have a million opposition agents. I don't think I mind that. I think we're gonna double ramp here. If they want to tap out for the... Hey, how's it going, Eternal Magic? Thanks for the raid. Let's do it this way. Hope your stream went well. Hope your stream went well. Sure. The Stalker is actually kind of annoying. They probably take the Green Sun. Because, like, it means I can't really get Grist. That would be, like, one argument for, like, Moloch, I guess. But even then, you're trading down on mana, right? It doesn't feel particularly great. I don't think that's, like, great either. Oh, good to hear. Good to hear. We are 2-2. We learned a lot from the last match, even though we lost. So I'm happy about that. Our other loss round one was against a rogue deck, so I'm not too concerned about that. Hmm. Okay. It's a pretty fast clock. Go to 14. Is it 2 turns? Feels bad. I feel like we have to kill the children right now. It's like, yeah, it feels bad, but I think we have to do it. Well, actually, the problem is, then we take 8, right? Like we don't. Yeah, I think we just do it now. Feels horrible though. And Atraxa at any moment here can steal the game, but so the alternative line is like get the Fiend Artisan. And then what? Like, what am I gonna do with the Fiend Artisan? I guess I can get the spider, but then I can't kill the thing in time. Because I'm going down to 3. I don't think there's enough time. Sure. Atraxa, Natural Order wins the game here. That's all we're hoping for here. They've had some pretty good hands, both games, admittedly. That's bad for us. If they see the line. If they see the line, we're dead. And they did. Well, c'est la vie, right? What can you do? So, let's concede. So let's look at the sideboard, and the deck, and how this game played out. It. So, for some reason, the sideboard hate I opt to play is not the one that's lining up for me. So, like for instance, I'm playing the Chalice of the Void because I want to respect Storm and I want to respect Storm and I want to respect Cascade. We didn't play against either of them or Initiative. what I should have wanted was, it's not here, but the Ley Line of Sanctity to protect, like, would help against his deck. Did I put Soulless Jailer? No, I took it out. And the reason being is it doesn't line up very well against Dothy Voidwalker. Like, if opponent has a Dothy, I had it and then I removed it. And then I remember why I originally removed it because, well, originally I didn't have enough space. But the problem with Jailer is if your opponent is ahead on board with a Voidwalker or a Stalactite Stalker, I don't really want to get this card because it doesn't do anything, right? If you're behind. Whereas, like, then I can get a Reclaimer, which is still protection against the graveyard, but actually does things. That's the reason why I cut Jailer. I just tried recently because I saw uptick in Reanimator, but it doesn't line up well against specifically Voidwalker if you're behind on board. The Contagion was nice. At least it did that. I think if anything, maybe I want the Ley Line of Sanctity against Mono Black or Reanimator, right? Like, granted, it's less good now if they're on the blue black version, but it's good against red black. It can be okay against like Inevitable Betrayal, but that's like really pushing it. What else is there? Yeah, if you're facing like the all-in Reanimator strategies and you know they're not gonna sidestep you with like a Voidwalker, I think Jailer's fine. Or if you're facing any kind of like, if they're more all-in on the graveyard, I think Jailer's fine. If they have some kind of pivot like a Voidwalker, I think is still okay but less good. I think the only change I would make is the Chows didn't do anything tonight. Maybe I'll play like, I don't know, a Ley Line of Sanctity or something. How did our... We went 2-3, but, you know, it is what it is. Alright, who are we going to raid next? I guess we'll raid the Legacy... Actually, we'll raid Evan, since he was here earlier. So let's do that. Thank you, everyone, for hanging out tonight. I think, even though we didn't do too well, I think I had a lot of fun, personally. I learned a lot. I think back to the drawing board with the sideboard slot. I think if we played a little bit better tonight, it probably could have been, like, maybe 4-1. We could have probably won round 1 and round 4. We would have lost round 5 anyways. There's no beating those hands. But yeah, let's go ahead and raid Evan, since he hung out with us tonight earlier. And thank you for everyone for joining. And again, those are my socials. I'll condense it to just one link tree later on, but enjoy.